Let's bring in former White House Communications Director Anthony Scaramucci. Anthony, last night, Mr. Trump also brought up the January 6 rioters. Take a listen.
But when people who love our country protest on January 6th in Washington, they become hostages unfairly imprisoned for long periods of time. But fortunately, the Supreme Court has just ruled, and they should be out soon.
What is your reaction to that and all the other things we heard from President Trump last night?
Well, listen, it's a crazy stream of consciousness. It plays well to a certain group of people. It's almost like a last gasp of whiteism in the country. He blows racist dog whistles. He says things that are basically attacks on black and brown people in the country. He does it slightly subtly, but not really. And also, what you left out of that whole thing, Jake, is that he said he didn't know what NATO was when he ran for office, which is sort of true because he didn't know what the Sykes-Picot Treaty was related to the Middle East. He didn't know the difference between a Shia and a Sunni. And he's sort of bragging about that now. And so there's an anti-elitism strategy there. There's an anti-anything but white strategy there. And he's very smug right now because the president obviously is not doing well, President Biden. Health-wise, he doesn't look well, if we're just being candid about all this. And I think the campaign is making a mistake by telling the American people, don't believe your lying eyes about what you see about the president. And so we're just in a different world now than FDR's world. We have to be honest about this stuff. But Donald Trump can be beaten. And so the question is, who's going to be the candidate? If it's Joe Biden, it's probably the first time in my life I've ever agreed with Mayor de Blasio on anything, but I do agree that we need to see more from Joe Biden, President Joe Biden. But what you saw there from Donald Trump, there's levels of disgust that I have for it, but he's got a group of people. But if you really listen closely and the Biden campaign or whoever the presidential nominee is for the campaign focuses on what he's doing, the hate tropes, and the victimization tropes, they will beat him in November.
Do you think there's somebody better?
Do
you think President Biden should step down from the ticket? And do you think, and who would you rather have be the nominee if not Biden?
So, it's honestly not fair for me to say because I'm not a lifelong Democrat. What I've said to my Democratic friends, you tell me who the candidate is. I will work tirelessly on behalf of that candidate because I understand the danger that man that you just showed is expressing to our society. And so I just also want to point out to people quickly, he's calling for the deportation of 15 million people. So just have him explain how that's going to work with the Handmaid's Tale armored vehicles and the potential concentration deportation centers and the garishness of that as well. And so, yes, this guy can be beaten. If you're telling me Joe Biden's the guy, I will do everything I can to help President Biden get reelected. If you're telling me it's not him, then you have to tell me who it is. Now, I will say this, because you and I are both students of history, Jake. The Democrats are at their best when they are bold and they go with younger candidates. Barack Obama at 47, young candidate going against a war veteran, beat the war veteran. Bill Clinton, generational boomer generation going against the greatest generation. He beat the war veteran. And so the younger people in the Democratic Party do better. 75% of the voters are saying that the president is too old to do this now. I think he's done a great job. But one has to wonder what he's thinking right now because Charles de Gaulle once said that there are graveyards filled with men that once thought they were indispensable. He could pass the baton to a younger leader, a he or a she, and they could beat the pants off of Donald Trump. But if it's Joe Biden, I'll be working for Joe Biden, Jake, and I'll be doing everything I can to help him defeat this scar that is being perpetrated on the country right now.
Yesterday, Republican Senator Lindsey Graham posted on X, quote, one of the first questions, why won't President Biden take a cognitive exam? President Trump will, unquote. You said you think it's, quote, political malpractice to suggest Biden can definitely serve another term. Do you think Trump should take the cognitive exam? Do you think Biden should?
So again, these are narratives, okay? And so we know that Trump is a malaproper. We know that Trump has episodes of old age and miscalculations cognitively. But the debate was a very bad debate for the president. And so people sliced what I said. I said it's political. If he has something wrong with him neurologically,
I see. Okay.
or he has something, okay, I said then it's political malpractice for him to stay in. If he doesn't have something wrong with him, he's got to come on Jake Tapper's show. He's got to do the Lester Holt interview. He's got to get out there and prove that he's up for it. But again, I'm with whoever it is that's going to be running against Donald Trump, because I understand the danger that Donald Trump represents. But Lindsey Graham knows better. Okay, he wrote 8 years ago, if we nominate this guy, we're going to get exactly what we deserve. He knows better, and it's sad to see. And so we have a very large group of people: Ted Cruz, Lindsey Graham, Kevin McCarthy, profiles in cowardice. They know better. They know the capabilities and the mendacity and the evil of Donald Trump, but they have now fallen in line with him. And he is, as I've said on your show, he is the most anti-American presidential candidate that we've seen in the last 100 years.
Today, President Trump was asked about inviting former Governor Nikki Haley to the Republican National Convention in a radio interview on Fox. Here's part of what he said.
I don't know. I'm going to take a look at it. I want to see. I know she gave her delegates over. There was a lot of bad blood there. She stayed too long. She was being soundly defeated at every place, but she just wouldn't leave.
She has said that she will vote for Trump, and she did turn over her delegates. Another former rival, Ron DeSantis, who is going to get a speaking spot at the Republican National Convention. What's your reaction? Should President Trump invite Nikki Haley?
Well, I think this was the biggest miscalculation of Governor Haley or Ambassador Haley's career. She had a coalition, 20 to 30% of the Republicans. She could have thought like an entrepreneur and reached into the non-voters and reknit a center-right coalition to defeat this nonsense, which is no longer Republicanism, it's actually Trumpism. And so I don't even know why she would want to speak at that event. But assuming she wants to speak at the event, it would be wise for President Trump to have her there. Because remember, the Republicans are the smaller group in terms of registrations relative to the Democrats and the independents, and he wants to win. And Susie Wiles is a very smart person. Bringing her there, letting her speak, it'll help him knit a coalition that'll get him closer to electoral college victory. So he should have her speak there, and my guess is he will.